happened, they would also consult an astrologer, because we could provide a lot, as I've tried to show in my books. There's so much to be uncovered that maybe wasn't apparent. At least what we can do in cold cases is provide a lead.
The book is...
We could say, well, the victim knew the killer. Well, then you're ruling out hundreds of thousands of possible suspects.
Well, exactly.
There's ways you can see that, and that helps. If they have no idea in a cold case of who did something or what happened, it would be helpful to know that the victim knew the killer.
And it's very extensive. The research that you've done, the information you have, it's not just sort of a theory. It's all documented in the book. Exploring Forensic Astrology, The Secrets Behind Famous Family Murders. B.D. Salerno, our guest in the program. Our first book is Forensic by the Stars, Astrology Investigates. Information at the website astrologyinvestigates.com. The book's available all across the country. And of course, you can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. In talking about murders of a child, it's interesting because you've got a chapter in there on Jon Benet Ramsey that has been in the news recently. You came to some of your conclusions months ago, so it's not something influenced, by Dr. Phil or something that we've seen here in the last couple of weeks. And you basically described this as disturbing on a number of levels. First of all, talk about that aspect of it and some of your findings by looking at the astrology related to the case.
Well, the first disturbing thing, Rick, was that it happened on Christmas night.
Yes.
And that upset me because as a child, that was, of course, my favorite holiday. It probably is for every kid. And she was just such a bright personality. You could see that there was an aura about her that emanated from her photographs. And right away, I felt terrible for the parents. For years, until probably last year, I really didn't think they could have had anything to do with it. And I'll say I didn't think they could have anything to do with it because I could not conceive of something like this happening. It was just too awful. As much as I've done crime, I still can't stand a lot of what I investigate.
Yes.
And so I felt sorry for the parents. I was really in their corner. And then when I did the chart, well, I brushed all bias out of my mind, which you kind of have to do. You have to have amnesia when you do this work sometimes. I started working on the chart a couple of years ago. I was like, this really doesn't look good. This does not work. And I had believed the investigator Lou Smith, who was discussed at length in the past couple of weeks on various TV shows. I really believed in the intruder theory, mainly because I could not fathom how else it could have happened. But when I studied the case, I think I read 4 books on the case when I got serious about it. The more I learned, the more I thought, this whole thing is so phony. It's so totally, it makes no sense. It was completely disconnected. It looks like some accident that was then, there was this hysterical frenzy to change the facts, to cover up the facts. So I'm going from being a Ramsey supporter to feeling that, there's absolutely no way that they were not involved in this. It makes no sense any other way. How the ransom note got into the house, how somebody could sit down after doing that and write a note, which took at least 20 minutes to write because they timed it. So then going to the chart, and then I began to apply what I was learning from the ancient theories, and I got Jon Benet's birth information, and that child had an extremely troubled horoscope and was really in danger. I mean, there's ways to see danger in a horoscope, and she was in danger with the parents. There was a lot of stressful indicators in that. And then looking at what eventually happened to her, the crime chart supported what was sort of foreshadowed in her birth horoscope, that there was danger from the parents and the family, the whole family.
Yeah, and a lot of people looking at the young brother Burke, when you looked into that, is that plausible that's where it started? Was maybe an accident, something that got out of control, and then the family participated?
So much accidental, but probably just an outburst of some sort.
Yes.
and maybe not intentional. Wouldn't say it was premeditated murder. It probably was more like a manslaughter issue. But the strain between brother and sister are also emphasized in these horoscopes. And so putting that together with all the books I read and the research, I'm firmly convinced it was a family situation that just really got out of control. And very sadly, they have been getting so much support, and nothing's come of the indictment. Nothing's come of all, they're saying there's no real evidence. But, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and they're taking a couple of molecules of DNA and throwing out the common sense of the rest of the case.
Right, and all of this...
The logistics of somebody going into that house in the first place, it just doesn't hold water.
Now, and you lay all of that out, especially with the astrological evidence in the book, Exploring Forensic Astrology, The Secrets Behind Famous Family Murders. Our guest on the program, rapidly running out of time, B.D. Salerno. The book is available all across the country. Information at her website, astrologyinvestigates.com, and you can go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and log on and get all of that information. A couple minutes left in the program. Are you somewhat surprised when you sat down? In fact, I've heard you say that I come up with this book and I've got all these famous murder cases, and people are suggesting more. Are you somewhat surprised sometimes when you sit down and you look at all the evidence, how clear it becomes when we're reading what the charts say?
I wouldn't say surprised, because I know that astrology is the truth. I'm always in awe of it. I'm like, I know this stuff works, but it is really amazing. I am in awe of it. I guess you could say that's surprise. I have such a high regard for it, and the fact that people thousands of years ago who had no computers, had no charts of the heavenly skies at all, were able to come across this knowledge, which still holds water when it's tested like I tested it in my books. It is just a thing that is awesome, and that's my mission, is to spread the word about it.
Well, and you're doing it very well. The book is Exploring Forensic Astrology, The Secrets Behind Famous Family Murders, a number of murders that we've talked about for years. You detail in the book Exploring Forensic Astrology. BD's first book, Forensics by the Stars, Astrology Investigates, is still available as well. Information at the website, astrologyinvestigates.com. Book available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all across the country. And, of course, you can link on to BD by going directly to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. BD, as always, a pleasure to have you on the program. Look forward to having you back on the show. Thank you for being with us once again. Fascinating show and great job in the book.
All right. Thanks so much, Rick. I'll look forward to talking with you again.
B.D. Salerno, our guest on the program. The book Exploring Forensic Astrology, The Secrets Behind Famous Family Murders. Information available. You can land directly to B.D.'s website by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Stay tuned. The program continues right after these messages.
They would also